All right, let's look at test 1, number 11. This is a word problem, all right, but go ahead and look at it, hit pause, and then we'll try it together. Okay, once you see this question and you read that it's a word problem, we ask, step 1, what am I trying to find? Okay, and in this question, step 1, you've probably already written this down. This question is asking us the dimensions of Carla's room. That's what it wants to know. And then it gives us two very important pieces of information. It tells us that Carla's room has an area of 180 feet. So when asking what do I know the area equals 180 square feet, and I also know that the total perimeter is 54 feet. Now this is great information. However, the question isn't asking us for area perimeter, it's asking us for the dimensions. And we don't have those. So how do we get them? What we have to do with this information is create a system of equations. So let me show you how this works out. If I know all of this, okay, as I get to step 3, to find area, what we have to do is multiply the length of a rectangle by the width of a rectangle. And that gives us area, which in this case we know is 180 square feet. And to find the perimeter, I mean, if you think about it practically, what you're doing is you're just adding up all the sides. So you're adding up 2 of the lengths and 2 of the widths. So the way I write perimeter is 2L for lengths, okay, 2 of the sides, plus 2W for 2 of the widths. And they tell us that that is 54 feet, all right? So once we know these two, we have length plus width to find our area and to find our perimeter down here. So now let's solve, okay, when we see this, let's go ahead and solve for either the top or bottom. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve for L, okay? So the way that we solve for L is we say, okay, I've got 2L plus 2W equals 54. So we subtract 2W, subtract 2W, and we get 2L equals 54 minus 2W. Okay? I'm going to take that up here a little ways. So we have 2L equals 54 minus 2W. Now we have to divide by 2. And we get L equals 27 minus W. Well, now that we know what L equals, we can take this and plug it back in to this equation. So let's do that. Let's throw that in there and see what happens. If I know that L equals 27 minus W, I can say, all right, (27 minus W, substituted for L, times W equals 180. So I've got this. Now that means if I multiply my W's, 27W minus W squared equals 180. So at this point, we're almost there. We almost have the equation set up. If we've got this, and I'll rewrite it, it's right here. The last thing we have to do is I want to get my W squared positive, so I'm going to add W squared and I'm going to subtract 27W and put them over here. So then in the end I get W squared minus 27W plus 180. Okay? Now this equation, we have to take this and we've got to factor. So I want to get rid of everything else. We've gotten down to the most important thing. Okay? We need to factor this.
W squared minus 27 W plus 180.
Okay, so I have this. I then have to solve for W. So the way we do this is say, all right, what multiplied is going to get to 180? So out of this, I have to say, okay, I know it's going to be W and W, okay? I then see that this is a negative, so I have to add up to negative 27. And what I do when I see this, this tells me that I'm going to have a negative somewhere, but if I have a negative here, which is a negative, if this is going to be positive, well, a negative times a negative always equals a positive. So I make both of these negative, okay? I then ask, what times what equals 180 that adds up to 27? So you kind of got to play with the numbers, okay? But you play with them and you get 12 and 15, all right? Now, let me just say this. Before we finish this, if factoring is not your thing, if you're like, I hate this, if you have a quadratic formula equation in your calculator, throw it in there. Or you can graph this, right? And you can check your graph and figure out your answer. But I like to just factor it. I get a quick answer because I know with each of these, I can set both of these equal to 0 on their own and say that, all right, W minus 12 equals 0. Solve for W, and I get 12, right? And at this point, you can look down and notice you've got 12, and there's only one answer choice with 12 in it. But if you want to finish it, you can say, okay, W minus 15, set that equal to 0. And you get W equals 15. So your answer here, Carla's room, the mystery is solved. It is a 15 by 12 foot room. Take that, Carla.